Hi, everyone. Well, today I'm really super excited to introduce you to Brian Marin. Hi, Brian.
Hello, hello.
He deals with human behavior from the battlefield to the boardroom. He's also a veteran. We are very proud to have him on today. Thank you. And he's going to share with us a bit about the work he and I did together to help him reset and calm some of his triggers and his emotions in the past.
Yeah, well, thanks for inviting me to come on here and talk about this stuff. I appreciate it. You know, we met a little while back. I've gotten a lot from you, so hopefully I can give some of that back because I feel like I took more from that relationship. So
Oh.
thank you for that. But I deal in an area specifically called human behavior pattern recognition and analysis, which scientific process of how to understand your environment, sense, make, and problem solve to mitigate issues before they arise. But I go back to kind of first learn that skill set a little bit in the military. I was a sniper in the Marine Corps, spent a little time in the reconnaissance community, and then continued working for the government after that for a while in different places overseas. And I kept running into my now business partner. He was a kind of a subject matter expert for the Department of Defense, a whole bunch of other areas involving human behavior. And specifically at the time, it was a kind of combat focused skill set, I guess, overseas to literally how do I not walk into an ambush? How do I see something before it occurs, right? But that's a little bit about me. And then I know we met through a project that's kind of still ongoing through specifically through Crusades 22 about veteran mental health and helping guys kind of get that transition process from a military into a civilian world and understanding your mental health issues, not just understanding them, but how to deal with them, right? How to actually get better handling them and understanding it. And so I took a lot from that and from the stuff that we worked on because it was extremely helpful.
Some of the work we did together around that with the breath work, the tapping work, how did you feel it impacted you personally?
Okay, right off the bat, breath work is the greatest thing you could ever do. And people I've been kind of
Hmm.
figuring that out over the last few years, especially in terms of even performance, like sports performance. Well, mental performance is the same way. Like just having something that you take for granted that you do. It's like it's breathing. You don't have to be taught how to breathe, and it's this feedback loop, right? So the better I become at breathing, well, the better my posture gets. The better my posture gets, the better I'm moving around, right? The better I'm moving around, the more active I can be. The more active I can be. It's just this constant feedback loop, and
Yeah.
then it can affect you negatively. Like if you're feeling down, you'll physically be down, and then it's going to negatively affect your breathing. It's going to slowly get worse. So if you learn to start with just learning and understanding breath control and how to breathe, your whole world changes. It starts incrementally changing. I still do my breathing exercises, every day in the morning when I get up. That's my thing. I cold glass of water to wake me up and breath exercises, and man, you're on and you're ready to go. And I had never experienced that before.
That's great. And I mean, with breath work, it's not the same as meditation. A lot of people
Right.
get confused, right? You can do breath work and deepen your breathing and do these techniques that we share from the HeartMath Institute that will help to reset you. These are used in moments of feeling triggered and anxiety. And then the more you use these breath work techniques, the better your coherence becomes and resilience to situations. But also, I'm seeing with my clients that they're more able to improve their communication. They're not
Yes.
going to be so immediately reactive and jump in negatively. They take a beat, they take a moment to do this breath work to calm the nervous system, to reset. But the long term effects are that they're not continuously draining themselves and having this massive cortisol running through their system because they're so stressed.
So just us talking about it, I've already changed the way I'm breathing just standing here talking to you because it's hilarious because
I love you.
it's exactly what you're talking about because now you become aware and what happens when you practice it, first you have to practice it and you go through it, right? But then after a while, just like you said, I I will start automatically doing that before the situation before it starts to escalate because I know I'm going into either like, all right, I got to have this conversation with my wife. I know she's pissed about something and she's just frustrated with work and so am I. And so like I'll just find myself, I'm like, oh man, I'm already breathing before going into that conversation, preparing myself. I always say it brings down the threshold of possibility. So instead of things being, escalating way, way up here, way over your head, it'll still escalate, but it's not going to escalate as much because you've controlled it. And that's that's a win. That's a huge win, right? Just these are 10% better over your lifetime is massive. You know what I mean? So I always try to think, to celebrate the small wins and what you can do. And that's what I like of the breath work. And you brought up meditation. So for me personally, like, I'm not there yet. When it came to the breathing, that hooked me, and I was like, oh, well, I can do this because I can relate this directly to everything I do during the day. So it was much easier for me. I'm working towards that. I want to get to the point where I can just be able to meditate freely and have this amazing experience, but I'm not quite there yet. So
that's fine. This is like the step to whatever works for you, basically.
Yep.
So the breath work, which is also in my program, How to Decode and Calm Your Emotions, is something I've used with many, many, many clients, as well as veterans, to help them build their coherence and help them to reset, especially after post-traumatic stress. And then, of course, as you became involved with Crusades 22, the nonprofit that I was involved with, you then became aware that there were a few more things that could be more generally used by those who weren't going to have that magical conversation of being able to find out this is a challenge for you and needs to be addressed. I think it's important for everyone to know that there are baby steps that are required. Yeah, right. Just as you've explained. And this is where the tools come in. So there's a technique called the emotional freedom technique, which is a tapping technique that you'll see in the program that I've designed to reprogram the brain, but you're letting go, you're tapping points on the body with a statement that helps you to start creating a new neural pathway in the brain. We're still working out how it works. It works. A lot of veterans use this technique. A lot of veterans look at me when I first introduce them and think absolutely nuts.
That was me.
Yeah. I was one of those. I'm like, totally get it. Please just hang with me, because we're trying to access fast, effective tools that individuals like yourself who've been in service, who've been in action, can do really quickly, and that will make a difference.
My thing, especially, like, you hit it on the head, like, my approach to everything when someone says, oh, I've got this way of doing, I'm like, yeah, this is junk. It's not going to work. And all of those things, actually, to me, I was like, oh, I've heard of this junk before. Yeah, whatever. Okay. And then I started doing it. I was like, oh, damn. Like I could sit there, and I didn't, the way I notice stuff is like when I'm doing something without realizing it. And the same thing you're talking about, the tapping, and you just started tapping on your hand right here. And that was one of them, because one of the guys that we were doing this project with needed something that he said worked really well when, like, he needed it in a situation where people didn't think like, hey dude, why are you tapping on your head right now? That's really weird. And it was like that, something small. And I started trying that and doing that when we were going through that group process. And I was like, damn, that's so powerful, because to me, if it works, it works. Like, I mean, I don't care what anyone else says. If it works for you, then it works, and it's fine.
I mean, at the anxiety center where I work, at least if we can get this kind of motion going, and what's happening is it's just helping to calm the nervous system and the anxiety and the panic attacks. Usually it's like, even though I feel panicked, I'm okay. I choose to release this panic. It's giving permission back to yourself, knowing that you're in control, and I release this panic. So the movement of the tapping affects the amygdala, where our emotions are stored, and the statement along with it gives the brain the opportunity to feel safe. Done enough, repetition, which is always the key to any kind of healing, commitment to that, and repetition starts to create a change. So we might get anxiety attacks, panic attacks, but they're not so intense. And this is what I discuss in the program.
The other thing that I notice is when you have stuff like that, then people around you, loved ones, people who care or helping you or whatever, like, they notice that stuff, and then they know, oh, that's an indicator. Because, like, we've had it before with my wife, especially during COVID and lockdown and everything going on. There was one time a few months ago where we literally started arguing, and to the point where I was like, we were shouting, and I'm like, what are we arguing about? And she's like, I don't know. And we're like, this is stupid, because we took for granted everything, meaning we didn't allow ourselves to realize how much the situation was affecting us. And so then it became this moment where we're like, oh, wow, we've really going stir crazy here right now. Wow, this whole COVID thing is real for us. Wow, we really are affecting. And so it helped. But when she sees me, when I take that, when we're having a discussion, I stop and I literally take a step back and I take that breath. She knows, she sees that and goes, all right, hang on. I'm not meaning to, I'm sorry. I don't want to get you upset. I think maybe it's coming across. So it's almost, when she sees that, she goes, oh, wow, what I'm saying, he's taking it differently than I mean it. So it immediately increases both of our communication, and I'm the one having to like deal with the process. But just her recognizing that, goes like, oh, I can just turn this down a little bit for right now. We don't need to go into that area. So
That's great.
it works externally as well.
So where can we find you?
My company is arcadiacognerati.com. I've got the Left of Greg podcast, or just look me up, Brian Marin, on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, and that would be the best way to even get a hold of me, unless you just want to shoot me an email. It's brianmarin@arcadiacognerati.com. But otherwise, anywhere on social media, if people reach out to me, I answer them. So
I just wanted to thank you too for doing this today and joining me, because
absolutely,
this isn't just about the program that I've got and I'm launching about calming your emotions and the tools to help you do that. It's also, in a bigger perspective, the way in which we see ourselves, changing the way in which we see ourselves, changing the way in which we're able to access and look at ourselves as having challenges, and not seeing that as a negative, seeing it as something that we can do something about, just as you described earlier, and taking steps to change that so that we can thrive and live a life that's more fulfilled, and something that we can also then be of service to with others, because we're all connected, we're all one, and we impact each other. So thank you so much, Brian, for joining us today. And for everyone out there who is looking to take that first step into understanding how they make their choices in their life, and where these choices might be driven from in terms of the emotions that you're carrying around with you, check out my How to Decode and Calm Your Emotions on the link below to find out how you can break free of those limiting and painful and self-sabotaging emotions that are holding you back. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.